Welcome to the Eyes on Ocean podcast. The podcast was created for marine mammals observers to share the incredible experience with whales and dolphins. My name is Claudia Erber, your host, and I invite you to embark and tune in to sea lovers' inspiring stories. Hello, everybody! Today we have a very special episode with Marina Battocchio. We met during the European Cetacean Conference Society in Italy. She was working at the organizing committee as organizer, and I think it was just from the first day when we met, we started to talk. Are you Brazilian? Yes, I am Brazilian. Oh, so nice. And then since then, we kept contact. So it's a pleasure to have you here and thank you to participate in this project. Welcome, Marina.
Hi, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm very excited to be here.
So let's start from the beginning. Tell us where are you from and where are you at moment?
Okay, so I am Marina from Brazil. Actually, now I'm in Italy. I'm still in Italy since the conference, so the whales kept me here. I am an ocean and cetacean lover, biologist, and I recently finished my master's in ecology.
Wow, so nice to hear. You are so lucky to be in Italy since April, I guess. So, how many months already?
Yeah, now it's a little bit more than 4 months since April I'm here.
Wow, that's cool. 4 months enjoying Italy. That's a dream. So tell me a bit about your early days in your career, how you start, and what have you been doing so far?
Okay, so my career is quite short yet, but I guess it started 5 years ago when I first saw the first southern right whale of my life back in Laguna, Santa Catarina. Since then, I just knew that I wanted to work with these animals. And after some internships, a lot of volunteer work, a lot of talks with different researchers and professionals, I got into the master's and started living by my dream.
Wow, so nice. I love the South Right Wales as well. I was doing a volunteer work in 1998. Oh my gosh, so long time ago. I was the third year of my university and I spent a few months there in Praia do Rosa. Was a great experience. We have like a bungalow in front of the beach and we go to the mountain, to the top of the mountain to look for the whales and observe and register all the mother and calf behavior. And I also have the opportunity to surf with them. Was a great experience. So tell me a little bit about your master, how you study the whales and what was the goal of this research?
Okay, yes. And actually, talking about your surfing experience, I started surfing because I wanted to be closer to the whales. So the
Me
same thing in
too.
Yeah. Yes, I started the internship in Itapirubá in Instituto Australis. And then I was working there and seeing all those surfers so close to the whales, and I so wanted it. So I started
Me
surfing.
too.
And yes, I realize my dream every time that I surf with the whales. It's an amazing experience. But regarding my master's, the data are all from Australis Institute, and we do aerial surveys every September, and then we count and register exactly where the whales are, so we can have like the update on where these whales are. My first chapter were all about the kernel density estimators in Brazil. And my second chapter was the statistical modeling of environmental factors, if these environmental factors affected the abundance and the distribution of southern right whales and the coast of Brazil, Santa Catarina and Rio Grande do Sul states.
And what did you find? Can you share?
Yes, yeah, sure. My defense was like 2 months ago, so it's all very fresh on my mind. And in my first chapter, we found that they are changing their distribution in our coast. So they are moving a little bit northern. And we have the environmental protection area there. And the major part of the whales are inside of the APA da Baleia Franca. But we also have a lot of them outside the boundaries of the protected area. So this could be useful in terms when we're rethinking the boundaries of this protected area. In my second chapter, then we found that El Nino, Southern Oscillation, the climate phenomenon, can impact the abundance of southern right whales 1 year after this phenomenon. But it's all very simplified system, so we need to study it more. But when we see the literature, it makes sense with all the other researchers are finding. So we found these signals that in Brazil, this may be true also to this population, that the environmental factors really affect the whales here in our coast.
Wow, that's very interesting. But what you mean affecting is that they are going more north or they will stay in the same area? What do you mean with that? Do you already have this data?
Yes, yes. In the models that we built, we've seen that after 1 year of strong El Nino, the abundance of southern right whales decrease in Brazil. So we have less animals 1 year after this strong El Ninos. Of course, we need more data, more years of study, more models. But so far, we've seen that this number decreases. So our hypothesis behind it is that when we have a strong El Nino, we have like the melting ice, we have less food for the whales back in the Antarctic convergence. So these whales may be not eating so well, so they don't migrate to Brazil because they come here to have their calves, to nurse their calves and stuff. So this could be a really serious impact or a serious sign that we need to search more.
Wow, this is very interesting and it's a hot topic because you can relate to the climate change impacting the abundance and distribution of these animals. So in that case, they would stay there in the south instead of migrate, and then they would postpone their breeding season. It's like that?
Yes, like there's many options of what they can do after. They could be migrating to another place that regard like less energy to travel to. They could not having these calves and postponing, as you said, like what they are going to do. We're not sure yet. We need more time. We need tag studies. We need to follow these whales. Like my masters, that's what I'm so passionate about. Like we found some signals, but then the questions that we found of this signal that are immense. So we have a lot more to study. It opened more questions than it answered, but I think that's normal in science.
Wow, that's amazing. As much as you don't know nothing. And it's
Yes.
also a kind of a new field when we talk about using aerial tools to check for the distribution and abundance, and also use the tags to really follow up where the animals are. It's a lot of new technology coming up to help us to solve these new questions, let's say. Are you already planning to do a PhD?
Yes. I'm very excited about thinking about a PhD project. I want to stick to Southern Right Wales, but I'm not sure yet about the project or where I'm going to do this at. But I want to keep going on the questions that my master's open. And I think I'm thinking about working with these new technologies because I think they bring a lot of opportunity to answer these questions that we're not able to answer with the old technologies that are very important, but now we have to go a little bit deeper.
And when you talk about new technologies, you mean drones or tags or both?
Tags, because my research was with the aerial surveys with the helicopters. So when we tag the animal, I think we're going to see exactly where are they feeding, and now new technologies also with the isotopos to know what they are feeding and to understand a little bit more what is happening with their food to know if our hypothesis behind it makes sense. And also, one thing that I suggested in the end of my master's was to bring more knowledge from oceanography and climatology because studying this climate change is so complex. The system is huge. So I think we need a little bit more understanding about what's really happening behind all this phenomenon to see the impact on the whales. So actually, it's a huge field with a lot of open questions, and I think we're answering just a tiny bit of it, but that's what we can do by now.
Wow, that's so beautiful to hear. I'm already excited about this research. As you said, it's so huge, the field, and as much as we know, we find out so much more to know. And the new technologies opening the new questions, and ecology is just it's so motivating because you can connect so many factors with these fantastic animals. So, talking about this beautiful ecology field that you are already in, what motivates you most in this career so far?
Oh my gosh, I think everything about it motivates me, but my connection with the Southern Right Whales is very deep. So from the first time that I've seen it, I felt something different. And since then I come back to this connection when I feel unmotivated or I feel tired. But these open questions are also a thing that motivates me to keep going because when I started in this career, I thought that we had a lot of researchers, a lot of good people researching it, and we had a lot of information about Southern Right Whales, and there was nothing else to study or to research. So, but then when I started doing the research, I found out that we can study them like for years and years and years, and there's so much to discover. So I think the biggest motivation is that like adding some tiny piece of knowledge, inspiring people to look at our oceans with a little bit more of care. And yeah, I think my deepest connection with the Southern Right Whale was the biggest one, but everything that involves it, it's also my motivation.
That's nice. Yeah, you are very lucky to study this population because they are going to Brazil every year, and we do not have so many scientists. Also because scientists study them, also because of the founding. So I believe this can be a challenge also in one way. How it is for you to get the foundings, or in the project, Australis project, already have this founding for you?
Yes, I'm very lucky actually because I was an intern in Australis Institute. And it was funny because in my last years of college, I sent an email to my co advisor to advise me on my bachelor thesis, but he never replied because he has a lot of work to do. And then when I was there as an intern, I could actually got his attention and talked to him, and we thought about this project together. So the Australia's Institute has its own funding
Mm.
from Petrobras, and then it helps like funding the aerial surveys and stuff. But now that I finished my master's, it's quite hard to find funding to do it. So this is for sure one of the biggest challenges of the career, to keep the motivation without
Mhm.
enough funds to do it. But yeah, I think we this thing about talking about it and showing people environmental education, this is very important to gather the, like, to get people to notice the problematic of it and how important it is to do research on these animals, how important they are in Brazil and all over the world. And so this is a very good step to get more fundings to show people why this is so important.
I totally agree. And I also think it's important what you said about keep trying the contact, be persistent when you want something, because it's a competitive field. And once you get into a project, you get in touch with the people who are already doing the research, then you can understand better what are the needs of the project, and then you can get the more involved with the project. So I think for people who are in the beginning of the career and feel a bit dismotivated because it's hard to get the first chance, just keep trying. I remember when I started, I was also in the first year of the university, and I wanted to go to the Humpback Whale project as an intern, but I didn't have anything. I was 19 years old, so I just had the 6 months of marine biologist university. But then I sent my curriculum for the volunteer job, and I kept sending messages. I called, because in that time we didn't have email, in 1996, oh my gosh. And then I got it, my chance, because I persist a lot. I got to know everybody from the project, just calling and calling and calling. And that changed my life. After that internship, I became a cetologist, because I got a chance to volunteer in other projects, and then I knew what I wanted to do for my master's, and here I am. So I think it's a very important tip what you said, that persist, get in touch, show interest, and also be flexible to be part of some project that is already been doing, and then you will have your chance to develop your ideas. I like that. Thank you. And I think that our audience can learn a lot with that.
Yeah, this is very, very nice to talk about, because actually, when I was searching for my first opportunity, I was almost given up. And then it was the pandemics. After I've seen my first southern right whale, I came back to my college. It was far away from the sea. No one was working with sea animals, nothing related. So I was given up. And then we were organizing an online conference, and one of the organizing committee people invited André Nogueira from Mysticeta Research to give a lecture. And then I heard him talking, and he was talking about this field and how he felt deeply lucky and well to be working with it. And his lectures are all amazing and so inspiring. And then we talked a lot, and he gave me some hints how to start. So that lecture changed like my life, and now we're very close and good friends. So yeah, and keep going, like don't give up. It's in the beginning is really hard, and you'll receive a bunch of no's in your face because there's a lot of people working in it. But once you get it, like there's nothing else in the world, nothing compares to working with what you love, what you're passionate about. So it's really worth it.
Totally agree. So tell me a little bit about the challenging of be a marine biologist or be a cetologist, a situation, or do you feel like the founding is the most challenging part of the career? Can you share with us something that happens with you that makes you think about if this is the correct way or not? I would like to hear your experience because I think we learn so much with the others' experience, even when they are not so positive, let's say.
Yeah. For me, the biggest challenge was for sure in the beginning, as I said, like to get into this career and to get into the research and to make my way into it. But fundings for sure are hard in this field. And I sometimes when I it's tiring like to it's not an easy animal. Cetaceans in general are not easy animals to search. You have to go in boats or even inland. You have to wait for them. You have to wait for the perfect environmental conditions. So there are a lot of factors. So that makes it hard to research on them. But I think the challenges they are there, but we that who works with these animals, we're so deeply passionate about it that in the end it's always worth it. But of course, I thought a bunch of times if that was the way, the right way. But every time that I go back to the connection, I realize that yes, that's the only possible way. And actually, I wanted to share there's a video from Mysticeta Research that's called O que te faz vibrar? What makes you thrill? And it's about this connection with the whales and going back to these things, to these materials, listen to people talk about their passion on it, it what makes me go back to it. But yes, the hardest challenges is as finding foundings and going back to your motivation every time you feel tired because we will feel tired for sure. That's a fact.
Yes, that's sure. Wow, that's nice. I will check on this video. I think it's very important to know that it's not easy, but it's so refreshing when you see an animal. And when you spend hours at sea looking for these animals, is wind, is cold, and or too warm. But then when you see a blow, it's so fantastic, and you feel like, oh my gosh, that's why I'm here. I was now working on the Arctic Ocean, and it's a scientific project, so we need to stay outside the boat. And it was cold. I used it like 5 layers of clothes.
Oh my gosh.
But I saw beaked whales, and I always dream of them. And I saw, like, the first day I saw them, I had 14 sightings of
Oh
beaked
my
whales.
gosh.
Yes, was, oh my gosh, was amazing. And then you feel like that's why I'm here, and it's worth the suffering in one way. But of course, you need to have the profile. It's not
Yeah.
for everyone. You need the passion, the motivation, but you need to know for what, how you will deal with these challenges.
Yes,
So,
yes, for sure. And then seeing the whales, like it's a different feeling. When you realize it, when you feel it, you will want to feel it over and over again. But whales, cetaceans in general, teach us a lot about patience, and we need to be patient. We need to wait, and we need to wait them to come back. It's not every day, and but I think that's a really important lesson that I've been learning since I've started it.
I agree. I think it's addiction in one way. You feel like, I want one more, I want one more. And then when you go to a new ocean or a new place, you feel like, I really would like to see this and this species. So you are always, you need to have the patience, but you have this expectation, this feeling every day you can see something new or not. So it's kind of a challenge feeling, mixed emotions in one way, and it's also like every sighting is one special sighting. So tell me about your most exciting experience.
I have a bunch because for me, everything Southern Wales related are very exciting. So, but I think the highest point of this short career so far, it's when I went to the aerial surveys with the helicopter, and I had the opportunity to go with Karina Grock, which is the main researcher of Australis Institute. And I remember that before getting into the internship, I used to read all of her published articles, and I was like amazed by it. And it's a project run by a woman, and dealing with all the challenges and all there in the field and in research. So I always felt really inspired by her. So I worked there in the Australis Institute, and every time that I saw her, I was like, oh my gosh, that's Karina Grock. And when I went to the survey with her, it was amazing. And the first whale that I've seen in the helicopter, it like my eyes got all wet, tears were going on. It's an amazing experience. I think there's no way to describe it. Seeing that animal, like from you're there, like with drone is nice, but with the helicopter, you're above them. You're seeing them like all the body. It's crazy experience. And when I also went with André Nogueira from Ciceta, that I already told you about him, we were recording the whales in Itapirubá and Santa Catarina, Praia do Rosa, and it was very deep and emotional experience because you're all day just looking for your favorite animal in the world with your favorite people and getting excited about it. People who gets excited about the same thing as you, it's very special.
I agree. It's very special, the teamwork. Yes, this how strong connection you make with the people because you are in this deep connection with the environment, with the animals. And I can imagine this opportunity to see the animals from the helicopter. I never did the aerial survey, but I work a lot offshore and I used to take helicopters to rigs and platforms. And I was always looking for animals. And I had the chance once to spot them from the helicopter, not
Oh,
very
nice.
close. And it was a really amazing experience. But when you said you were recording with André Nogueira, the waves, were you doing the acoustic recording?
No, visual things with the drones, with cameras.
Mm.
They do these documentaries. They produce a lot of material, visual material. It's very moving. The clip that I told you about, the video, what makes you thrill,
Mm.
it's from them. So they were getting images and takes for it, and it was amazing, like mind blowing. Their work is so inspiring, and the people that you've mentioned, the people that I met in this short journey so far, like the connection is so different. I met so good friends and people that I think I will keep for life. So this sharing, this connection is something I think is special as the world. There's no other word to describe it.
I agree. I will write down in our episode description the link for this movie or
Video,
filming.
yeah.
That yes, that will be great. And so, talking about the blow minding experience, what would the if you need to choose an animal, a species? which one will be your favorite? Or we already know.
Yeah. Yes, not a surprise, but Southern White Whale, I can't like I have a tattoo of them, like the connection was
Oh,
very strong, yeah. But yes, they are my favorite because they are super strong and resilient animals. We had the whaling times, they almost disappeared in Brazil coast, but they came back and they are so calm. They seem so calm and so peaceful and playful at the same time. So I see myself in whales. I don't know. They bring me back to me, to myself. So yeah, they're my favorite.
oh, they are so. It's strange to say. I would say, they are so cute, but they are too big to be cute. But
Yeah.
yes, they have this, like you want to hug them. It's different than a humpback whale, which you want to just watch. But the right whale is like, I don't know, it's kind of
It has
sweetness.
something, right? It has something.
Yeah, beautiful. And about the ocean, for me, the sea represents my life, where I want to be. I always want to be close to the sea, to understand the not only the cetaceans, but every detail of the sea life. And for you, what the sea represents?
Oh, it represents everything. And now that I'm here and I don't live as close to the sea as I used to live in Brazil, and as I'm far away from the whales, and now it's whale seasons in Brazil, it represents more. I think it reminds me more that I need to be close to it. So I think I go to the sea every day here because it represents home. Like I feel closer to home, I feel closer to myself as the place that I run to when I feel dismotivated, when I feel a little bit agitated or anxious about something. It brings me back to that connection with the southern right whales and also with the ocean. So I think it's a place to get the energy back when you feel tired. It represents home, yeah, for sure.
Beautiful. And do you have a music, a song that now, for example, you are not so close to the sea, you like to listen to reminds you this connection?
Yes, I do. I listen to So Free by Alex Serra, and this song is my favorite ever because it's calm and it's a chill song, but it reflects the way I feel by the ocean and when I'm seeing the whales because I feel free. Like whales represent this freedom for me. My tattoo is the southern white whales, and on top of it is written freedom, but in Portuguese. And I think this music brings me back to this feeling. So, music, sea, and whales is the things that kept me going here when I'm away from the whales.
So, so,
Oh, so nice. So good to hear. So good to have you here. It's such an inspiring conversation. So, before we finish, I really would like to give you a chance to leave a message, advice for these people that are in the beginning of career as you. Just a tips. A sentence that you bring to your day by day life. So please, your last words.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is to keep going because it's always worth it. Maybe a practical tip would be beginning in beach monitoring programs. We have a bunch of this in Brazil, and it's a really good place to start your career and to learn the basics. Talk with researchers and people that inspires you because we have a lot of different kind of people, and sometimes we can bump into people that are not that inspiring. So if you look for the right people, if you talk to the right people, they will always be willing to help and to give this energy back, as Andre did with me. So I think not give up, find the right and passionate people to talk to, and keep going. That's it.
Perfect. And I hope our podcast also gives this inspiration, and people that are sharing their experience here also can be in contact with our audience if they want. So, do you have an Instagram or LinkedIn that people can reach you?
Yeah, sure. It's always Marina Batocchio with CH in Batocchio. And from email is marinabatocchio.com, and Instagram also Marina Batocchio. And I like to talk about anything whales or cetacean related, so I'm very open to it.
Perfect. Thank you, Marina, so much. Have been a pleasure to have this chat with you. Thank you for navigating this far with us. Keep your eyes on ocean and ears open. Every 24, there is a new episode online.